4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studio in New York City. A fusion of politics, commentary, entertainment, and sports. Steve and his team bring you the latest news and opinion now. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, we'll be joined momentarily, hopefully, by Marsha Blackburn. Until then, let me catch you up on a few things. First of all, Joe Biden may have inadvertently done more harm with the crisis involving the children coming from Central America. Let me tell you what he had to say today. He said, we're going to hold hearings with our judges consistent with international law, and we're going to send the vast majority back. The vast majority back. By the way, international law? International law? I don't care about international law. I mean, look what's taking place here. And these kids are being moved to the Northeast in many cases. Boston, Maine. And the plan is to send them back to reunite them with their parents in where? In the Central American countries? You think these parents who put their kids, I don't know, on a bus or in a desert or whatever and paid people to smuggle them into the U.S. or instructed them to walk over the border, they're going to now volunteer and say, oh, here I am, send Johnny back home to me. That's not going to happen. That's a pipe dream, and they know it's not going to happen. But let it be noted that Joe Biden said we will send the vast majority back. Actually, he said that a couple of days ago at a press conference in Guatemala. In Guatemala. He sent a loud and clear message that your kid has a chance of staying because we're sending the vast majority back, not all. Come on. It just keeps getting worse and worse, unfortunately. Now, 70% of Anbar province is now under ISIS control. This is a very disturbing occurrence and a very dangerous occurrence. And, of course, really the next big battle is going to be for Baghdad. And I don't know. John Kerry is in Iraq today, as we've told you. And he's telling the Iraqis to get their act together, politically speaking. The president has said that ISIS is so violent that he thinks they'll be rejected by the people. Again, I'm not sure how that works. If ISIS is on the march and ISIS is killing and taking over cities and executing people and murdering Christians, how exactly do the people reject them and make them go away? That's one part of the equation that I think the president left out during his plethora of interviews that he did during the course of the weekend. So that's not too encouraging either. And in addition to all that, we have this poll that's out, which I find very interesting. And this is a Gallup poll. And George W. Bush, and this has been a long time coming because Bush was down. Of course, after the 2008 election, Obama was here, Bush was here. And slowly, 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 they've been getting closer and closer. They were just about even for several months. And now, George W. Bush has a 6-point edge in favorability over Barack Obama. A 6-point edge in favorability over Barack Obama. And this poll shows that Bill Clinton has 64% favorability with 34% unfavorable. Next up is senior George H.W. Bush, 63%. The younger Bush had 53% favorable, 44 unfavorable. Jimmy Carter, 52 favorable, 32 unfavorable. Barack Obama had 47% favorable and 52% unfavorable. Where's Ronald Reagan in this? I'd like to know that, and I don't see it. But Obama was the only president that had a more unfavorable than favorable rating among the people who were asked about this. Very, very interesting. All right, I want you to hear something that Rand Paul had to say, talking about what we started off with here about immigration and the kids being brought into this country illegally. Listen to what Rand Paul had to say.
But here's the conundrum, and I think the conundrum has really been pointed out by the children being dumped on the border right now. There's a humanitarian disaster of 50,000 kids being dumped on this side of our border. It's because you have a beacon, forgiveness, and you don't have a secure border. So that's why conservatives who are for immigration reform, I am for immigration reform, but I insist that you secure the border first, because if you have a beacon of some kind of forgiveness without a secure border, the whole world
is a
will
pathway
go.
to
Okay, but that's the thing. Everybody says the same thing. Everybody. I heard Kevin McCarthy talk about immigration. He was being challenged on his record as a conservative by Chris Wallace on Fox News Sunday. And they all say the same thing. Republicans, for the most part, the leadership. And I haven't heard too many Republicans not say this. Secure the border first. No immigration reform, no other immigration votes until we secure the border. And usually they mean pass a law to secure the border, okay? Because, folks, there are laws on the books that already exist. Weren't we supposed to build a fence? And then the country that came together in World War II, the country that sent men to the moon and to space and everything we've done, we were somehow incapable of building a wall or a fence or whatever you want to call it, because it went this way and that way and this way and that way. And those were the excuses I heard over the years. Oh, you know, the terrain is so unfriendly towards building this fence that was required by law. And I believe, unless I'm wrong, is still required by law. So, you know, the great American ingenuity, the great American, building machine who build highways from coast to coast, we just can't put this wall up because it would have to go zigzaggy, and we're just not good at that, you see. So that's the excuse that I've always heard. What do we have? And I haven't heard this talked about in years. 15% of the wall, 30% of the wall, fence, whatever you want to call it. I don't remember. But I'd like somebody to dredge that up and find out. I'd like to see the law about the wall or the fence and what percentage we've actually completed. Because I keep hearing all the Republican leaders and all the Republican possible presidential candidates talking about, security of the border first. All right, joining us now is Congressman Marsha Blackburn. Hello, Congressman.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Thank you for joining us. Time is of the essence, so let me get right to a bunch of things. You, of course, the Vice Chair of the House Energy and Commerce Committee. Tonight, the Oversight Committee is going to hold a hearing with the IRS Commissioner. Prime time, Darrell Issa will be able to fire away. After the disaster, in my view, of last Friday, and the arrogance, in my view, of last Friday from the Commissioner, and the revelations from last Friday, what do you hope for to be accomplished and explained, or asked at least, of the Commissioner tonight?
Well, one of the things I think is so smart of Chairman Issa to do is to hold this during prime time, because I think it probably will lead the ratings tonight. Secondly, I think it will be a great opportunity for the American people to see on display the arrogance of the bureaucracy, and I hope many of them will realize why we work so hard every day to rein this bureaucracy in, and to make certain that we reduce the size of the federal government. And it is so difficult. Every program up here has its own little fiefdom. And as Ronald Reagan taught us, there's nothing so close to eternal life on earth as a federal government program.
Are they going to get away with, though, Congressman, hey, Lois Lerner trashed her hard drive, and 6 other people who were involved in this allegedly, their emails have also disappeared. Isn't there a law that says they have to keep hard copy paper records of these emails?
There are, and they've got copies of that. What they're trying to do is buy enough time that they think it will now begin to look like a political fight. But let me ask you this. What is going to happen if you've got 6 million Americans or 60 million Americans that say, oh, my computer ate all of my financial records. Oh, but I lost my income tax return.
We'll have to build more prison. That's what's going to happen. I mean, that's you know that. You know that.
Yeah.
But let me just ask you, Congressman.
But look at this. No, look at this. Because this doesn't, their arguments don't hold water, and the American people know this, they don't. And they know that if the IRS cannot find those, cannot rebuild that certainly the NSA can.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So you say those emails exist?
I think they absolutely exist.
All right,
and what they're trying to do is keep their friend Lewis out of jail.
Well, here's the next question then. With a Justice Department that you know will not appoint a special prosecutor and will not indict anybody, will anybody be held responsible legally?
I think you're going to see there continue to be a push to hold people responsible for this. We will end up getting to the bottom of this, and we will end up getting that information that is necessary, those emails that are necessary and a crucial part of this investigation. I have no doubt about that.
All right, let me switch. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I was going to say I want to switch gears. We got like 2
Sure.
minutes left, and I want to get to the foreign policy. Kerry's in Iraq. Obama has stated, and he gave a lot of interviews over the weekend, that it's got to be done with Iraq. They got to get their political act together. They got to end the sectarian violence and problems, which I mean, that's been going on forever. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And he also said that soon the people will find that ISIS is so violent they'll be rejected. What does that mean?
I don't think anybody knows what it means. Maybe it's more of that hopeful wishing and in theory, and if everybody did what we wanted them to do type mentality that this White House has. And they just think they can deem things to be. And
how dangerous is this? How dangerous is this to America?
It is incredibly dangerous, and this president has made this country much less safe than it was the day he took office. And
do you see, short of military intervention, do you see anything to stop ISIS from burdening Jordan now and blurring the border of Jordan the way they did with Syria?
Well, I think that everyone is concerned not only about what is happening in Iraq and Iran, but when you look at what is transpiring in Syria, if they push into Jordan, if they try to get up in that Israeli-Syrian border and make some problems up there, I think people are very, and rightfully so, very concerned about this.
Congressman, more time next time. Thank you so much. Good talking to you.
Good talking to you.
Bye
now.
Congressman Marsha Blackburn, ladies and gentlemen. All right, folks, we're coming back, and we're going to talk about the Washington Redskins trademark. Don't go away.